Alex is the no code SaaS guy. He has built and sold no code SaaS tools. He has 150,000 plus followers on Instagram. And I just love his story because he's been there and done it. And so today, what we'll go through is some actionable tips for how to build and grow a SaaS tool, which Alex is a pro at. And so, what we'll do is Alex has some thoughts about how he's done it, an amazing strategy doc that he'll talk through.
I appreciate it. So yeah, long story short, 2 years ago, I started a company called Closify, and I'm kind of just going to walk you through. I have a little document that walks you through that whole 2 year process from getting the idea to MVP, scaling it, the whole thing. This is how we scaled to $1 million in total revenue in 2 years. It was just like a little under 2 years. Okay. So we're going to go through how I came up with the idea, how I validated it, customer acquisition via outbound, which was like my primary channel, and then building a commission-only sales team to do those outbound channels, iterating the product with feedback loops, hiring, and a little bit more. So how I like to come up with my software ideas is using acquire.com and looking for ones that are over 100K a year, and then searching up their G2 reviews and looking for recurring complaints. But like in this particular example with Closify, I was working as a sales rep, and I was in a community of agency owners from a program that I'd purchased. And they were all kind of asking me, like, hey, how do I find other good sales reps? And they were like, we've tried recruiters and it doesn't work. We've tried sales agencies, not a fan. And I was just listening to the problems, and I began to identify a lot of recurring problems, which was that recruiters were too expensive. They took too long, they were too slow, and the reps weren't predictable because they were only trained, but they weren't actually experienced. I took these problems that I was hearing over and over, and I basically figured out how I could potentially solve that problem. And it was like, okay, how do I make it faster, more affordable, more predictable? And the answer was to remove the human elements of that process and turn it into a self-serve hiring platform. I figured out that I could solve these problems. And so again, the whole recruitment process is how do you find your sales rep, how do you vet them, how do you onboard them, all these different types of things. And so there's a few different ways that you can then like validate your idea once you have it. The most simple one that I always tell people is like literally talk to your ideal client profile, like talk to the people that you intend on selling to. So I was talking to all these agency owners and I was like, what is the current problem you're facing with recruiters? How much would you pay for this hiring platform that I'm building? Like literally just go talk to the people that you intend on selling to. And then the other thing that I like to do is I make an early bird waitlist page where I just call out my ideal client profile. I say the main benefit of the software that I'm building, and then why you should join the waitlist, whether it's a discount on the launch, it's free bonuses, etc. And basically I reach out to people and I tell them what I'm building. I send them the waitlist. And another way that I do is I join Facebook groups and I make posts inside of them. And I did this with a power dialer that I'm building right now. It's like, here's how to book 100 demos per month for your SaaS with a cold calling team. And it's this guide. And in the middle of it, you like say, hey, by the way, I'm building a power dialer that enables you to do this. Like click here to join the waitlist for XYZ. And so normally if I get over 50 people on the wait list, I'm like, okay, this is probably an idea that I can be confident in pursuing. Another kind of like cheap way to validate it is to get a Figma mockup made. So you don't actually, I think a good way to put this is like, again, I live in Miami and there's new skyscrapers going up like every single day, it seems like. And when you think about building a skyscraper, like you don't just start building it, right? You design it out, you build out, you plan the architecture, all these different things. And so that's basically what a Figma mockup is, right? So you can spend like, I don't know, $200 roughly on some Figma mockups. It's going to, be clickable. It's going to be a clickable prototype of how the software will look and feel. And then you can use cold email to validate it. So you could buy 10 domains, warm them up, and you can send 1,000 cold emails to determine if an idea is validated or not, and have a basic script like, hey, John, I'll cut right to it. I have a SaaS that does insert benefits. Is it okay if I like send you a free demo, or is it okay if I show you it for feedback and I'll give you free lifetime access, like something like that. And if you get enough positive responses out of those 1,000, you can like, deem it to be something that's worth pursuing, and then actually have confidence in going to hire a developer, a development agency, whatever, to actually build out the product. So again, like Figma mockup, $200. The whole cold email tech stack is like $200. Like you can validate these ideas for less than $500. And then the beautiful part about no code is in how quickly, you can actually get to market. So my checklist as well when I'm building software companies, how big is the total addressable market? You want it to be pretty big. Like you don't want to be only selling to like window installers or car detailers. Like you want the power dialer I can sell to anyone with a sales team. So the TAM's much bigger. Can I charge 50 bucks a month or more? If not, it's very hard to scale and it's very, very hard to build a sales team around it. The only reason I see something like that making sense is if you just already have a giant, distribution that you own. Are other people doing this successfully? I actually want to see competitors because that shows me people are making money with it. How sticky is it? Is it an integral part of our user's life or business? Like with the power dialer, if they start using our dialer and they're booking demos with it, as long as their cold calling is a means to book demos for their business and our software is working, like they're never going to churn because they're not going to stop doing something that makes them money. And then is a low platform risk. Like you're not dependent on a singular platform. Like it's not like a GPT wrapper or something. You know what I mean? That can kind of be screwed over at any moment.
Alex, just on validating, how long do you said about some of those parameters and that you can test an idea within $500? What's the time frame that you give it to validate the idea as well?
So I try to do it as fast as possible. You can send 1,000 emails in like a month. It just depends how many. So, ideally faster. I would say you should try to do it in like 2 weeks is what I would say. So it would be like a month-long like total process of get your idea, dig around a little bit, maybe set up some emails, like month-long total process to determine like, okay, this is going to work. I'm going to go hire a development team. And then like, I'm going to keep pushing this waitlist page until we have the actual product ready to launch.
Okay, awesome. And Facebook groups. We've all seen Facebook groups where someone posts and then their posts get ignored or that there's lots of spam. Like
Yeah.
what is the strategy that you've used and seen work to get responses within Facebook groups? And
Yeah.
what
So it's all about directing your traffic to a lead magnet where people repeat, like you have to, your ask. So like when you're doing outbound, you have an ask, right? Whether it's booking a call, whether it's a demo, whatever it may be, you want your ask to be as low barrier as possible. So the ask that's working the best across the board for me, the companies I'm a part of, the people I know right now, is mainly just sending people to lead magnets. Like this is actually a lead magnet of mine. And it's very low barrier to get someone that you outbound to. Hey, I have this free guide. I think it'll help you. Do you want to check it out? It's a very small ask rather than, hey, man, do you want to get on a call? I think I can help you and I'm going to sell you, like stuff like that. I can't even tell you how many DMs I get per day of people pitching me. And none of them do this. Like literally none of them are like, hey, I made that's the other thing. It has to be like very valuable, easy to implement, and actionable. No one reaches out to me, like sending me stuff that could actually help me. They're all just trying to sell me on whatever. And so if you make a really, really good lead magnet around your software or around your business, and you should have lots of them that all link together, that's like one whole giant spider web funnel. Like for the power dialer, your lead magnet should answer all the frequently asked questions and easily be able to link to your product. So like, is cold calling legal? Is cold calling still effective in 2024? How do you find the phone numbers to cold call? These are all lead magnets that I'm making and linking together that all then point back to the actual product or point to the landing page if I haven't launched yet, or the waitlist page if I haven't launched yet. All these different types of things. But then, and so all my traffic, and there's 4 different forms of traffic, right? You have content, you have ads, you have partnerships, and you have your outbound. So the Facebook groups is kind of like a mix of like content and outbound. All of those 4 pillars of traffic are pointing towards these lead magnets. So we're answering their frequently asked questions. And then when they do get on the demo or they do get on the sales call, all their frequently asked questions, which are really objections, have already been answered. Then customer acquisition, you put the tools that you need. So again, this is my power dialer. It's going to be included in here, as you can see. And then all of these, this is just like boost your software. These are all affiliate links. So then you're just boosting. It's like if you have this traffic and they need the power dialer, well, they also need these other things to execute this strategy. So why would you not affiliate for it and get extra monthly recurring revenue out of the same amount of leads that you already have coming in? So I use ListKit for emails and phone numbers. I use Smartly for my cold email sending, Expandy for LinkedIn outreach, HubSpot for my CRM, Beehive for my newsletter, and I'm gonna use my own power dialer. Cold email setup, you buy 10 to 30 domains, and then they're all like domains like try Zapex. If your main domain is zapex.com, then you have like try zapex.com, go zapex.com, buy zapex.com. They all forward to the main domain, connect them to Smart Lead, warm them up, head over to ListKit, create a list for your first campaign, and make a few different lists to test against each other. And then the cold email script that has literally worked for me since 2021. Subject lines, still quick question. It still works. It's still the best performer. And so this is what I was just talking about. Cold emails changed a bit. Like I used to go straight to demo, and now I'm finding to a lead magnet it's working better. But anyways, it'll be something like, hey, name, I'll cut straight to it. I built a power dialer with parallel dialing that allows your cold calling team to produce 2 times as many qualified meetings per month. Is it cool if I send you a free course on how to use it? Again, get them inside of the ecosystem is really all we care about, not just like, oh, let me push them immediately to a demo. Or is it cool if I share a free trial with you? And then you can also add a risk reversal at the end. PS, if it doesn't increase their output, you don't pay, stuff like that. And version 2, if you have a case study, we just helped grow X company 30% in 90 days using our parallel dialing feature. Can I make a free account for you to test it against what you're currently using? So the thesis is you're just making the ask as low barrier and as much of a no-brainer as possible. Like, hey, can we set you up with an account to test it against whatever dialer you're currently using, and you only pay if it works better or something. Version 3, cut straight to it. I built a power dialer that allows you to dial multiple prospects at once, 2x your sales team's output. Can I send you 50 free leads to try it out with? And so I have a partnership with ListKit where I can get them free leads. So again, it's like, oh, like 50 free leads, test it out, very low barrier to entry. One more version, I'll cut straight to it. I built a power dialer that allows you to dial multiple prospects at once, 2x your sales team's output. And then this one's pushing to a demo. Are you free at insert day and time for me to show you how it works and how you can implement this? PS, if it doesn't work, you don't pay. If they respond with day and time it works, you book them yourself manually on your own Calendly. So managing replies, I plan on sending 10,000 cold emails a day. I'm going to be doing a ton of volume. And so you'll want to hire an inbox manager to sit in your master inbox and move positive replies to a demo. And so again, they'll be like, awesome, here's the link to download the freebie. PS, you can check out how this works at insert demo link, or maybe you just send them straight to your website where they can check out themselves. Something like that. Also depends if you're selling SaaS, high ticket B2B SaaS or services, whatever. And again, if you send them the lead magnet, you fill it with affiliate links. And this is how you make more money on more leads. And again, there's another tangent. Just if you don't have offers for different price points, you're losing a lot of money. But then when you set up HubSpot and connected to Smart Lead and Zapex in the future, you can actually cold call a lead as a second touch point after cold calling them, after cold emailing them, and that boosts your book calls by 50%. So say that you cold email someone, they open it, but they don't respond. Your second touch point can be making a trigger inside of your CRM for a rep to call them. And so you should expect roughly a 1% booking rate. And this looks something like 500 emails sent, 5 book demos, 20% close rate at 1 client. And so 500 emails to 1 client is like the ideal ratio that we're going for. And it's like really healthy to scale. So then I had my LinkedIn set up, 2 campaigns, connector campaign, add 20 new connections per day, messenger campaign, auto DMs people who accept the connection request, bonus points if you use Hyperize to utilize personalized images and meme follow-ups. Worked super well for us at Closify. Building a list, I did a lot of Boolean searches, like founder and marketing agency, second and third connections, company size 10 plus, filtered one state. So your connector campaign, we always found best results by leaving the connection message blank. I personally noticed myself when people send me connection requests, I accept more of them that are blank than, because like if someone has a message, you're just like, oh, great. Like as soon as I accept this, they're going to pitch me. So I always found better success with it blank, optimized LinkedIn profile. And then my messenger campaign was it was similar. Like, hey, name, thanks for connecting. I'll cut to it. Build a power dialer, 2x how your sales team can produce, can 2x your sales team, how much they produce. And I made a free course on how to do it. Want to check it out. 2-day delay, follow up. And then message 3, just like, again, bonus points if you use a funny meme here. But if you don't, like last time contacting you, if you want the free cold calling course on how to 2x your sales team, just shoot me a reply and I'll send it over. And so again, that's just like cold email, LinkedIn. I didn't really talk about cold calling too much in here because the dialer is not ready yet. As you can see, like, coming soon. But I do have like the cold calling script. Hey, name is a cold call, but it's a well-researched one. If you have 30 seconds, I'll prove it. Kind of just like how it works. Push them to a resource, push them to a demo. But where it gets really exciting and how I actually scaled Closify really, really quickly is once you achieve a 1% booking rate, at least on cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling, and you documented how to have success with standard operating procedures, and you're over $20,000 a month, now you're ready to start building a commission-only sales team, and you can scale super quick. So you have your SDRs, which they normally get like $50 per qualified meeting set plus 2.5 to 5% of deals they set to close. Then you have your account executives, your closers that normally just get paid 10% on the inbound calls or demos that they close. So this is the hiring strategy that I learned from a guy that took a software company from $1 million run rate to a $30 million a year run rate in like 1 year with the strategy. So we hired 10 SDRs at once. They immediately go into a hell week where they're onboarded. They have email inboxes to manage, LinkedIn campaigns set up, Power Dialer with leads. They have 1 week to book X number of demos, or they're fired after the first week. It would normally be 3 to 5 meetings. After the first week, let's say there's 6 people left. They then go into 3 pods of 2, and they go into a 30-day competition. Whichever pod books the most demos after 30 days gets a big prize, like 1K cash bonus, free trip, new MacBook, whatever. And then the number 1 performer overall also gets a big bonus. The losing pod is fired unless they're still over KPI, but normally you'll end up letting them go. So after this 30 days, you're normally left with like 1 to 2 savages, which they bring in significant revenue. Closify, each SDR that was really good with bringing about 20K a month. Rinse and repeat that process. Then hire a group of SDRs, hire a closer to take the calls or demos that they're booking, and then rinse and repeat. And then I also built another software to track and gamify this process called Trackify. So then we actually get into making the product better. And this is where like no code is really cool, is there becomes a constant feedback loop of customer success team gets feedback from users, feedback goes to developer, head of product. They make changes are related to the sales and marketing team. The new change is added into the marketing material and the sales team uses it to close. So again, let's say customer success finds all the users want 1 new feature that would be a game changer. They tell the dev makes a change. Dev lets marketing and sales know. Marketing blasts out the new feature and marketing material, and sales adds to their demo process. So this loop goes on forever, and it's how you reduce churn and increase customer lifetime value. And again, it's amazing with no code because you can iterate so much faster. So you're able to make these changes and iterate more times in a shorter time period. And then this is like a little bit of a tangent, but just like hiring best practices, I would always make 2 categories: impact on revenue, impact on customer experience. Put down all the hires I can think of, rank them all 1 through 3, 1 being large impact, 3 low impact, and then I would hire all the 1 impacts first. That is how I got the idea for Closify. It's how I scaled it to $1 million of revenue. To touch a little bit more on just like the MVP, we actually built the first MVP on a Stacker Airtable member stack tech stack because I couldn't afford to get it built on Bubble immediately. And so we went from that, then we went to Webflow CMS. And once I had the money for it, I hired a Bubble team to build it for me. And we've been on Bubble since. We're still on Bubble. Haven't had any issues with it in terms of scalability, customize, being able to customize it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. What do you think people misinterpret about no code?
Well, the biggest thing that people mess up is they think it's all drag and drop, kind of like Softer, where Softer is very easy to use, and it basically is drag and drop, where Bubble is like, I think, basically close to its own programming language in a sense. It's pretty tricky to learn. So people think that like Softer is built on no code or a joke, they can't scale. And that's just not true. We've built softwares on Bubble for clients that have launched to multi 6-figure run rates with no issues.
How did you go from this initial MVP of Airtable to then Bubble? What made you choose and then jump from Airtable to Bubble?
Yeah, so I mean, the first MVP, the first 2, I mean, they were pretty ugly. First off, like they didn't look great. They were not customizable on those stacks. That they were not customizable. They were not very scalable. It was basically just like using like spit glue and duct tape to like piece everything together. But at this time, I wasn't super familiar with the no code space. I had a partner that was a little bit more knowledgeable, and he was like, "Yo, I think Bubble's the best builder." And so we went with a Bubble team, and it ended up being a really good decision. We've stayed with Bubble since because we've just been really impressed with them and haven't had issues.
Okay. Okay. And at the start, you spoke about how you search for ideas. So taking a step back, when you go through acquire.com, for people who aren't familiar, is like an acquisition marketplace. What specifically are you looking for to get ideas on what to build when you look
Yeah.
tools or on Acquire?
So I'm looking for things that I have some sort of knowledge in the space. And I'm really looking for B2B ideas because that's just where my expertise is. So if I find stuff that's like B2B, big contract size, I want ideas where I'm like, oh, I just have to like literally run through that exact doc that I showed you guys. Oh, I just need to go set up cold email, LinkedIn, and cold calling, and then build a sales team, and it grows. Like I know how to do that. And then now I can also pair that with what I know about content marketing to like they both do better together. Like your outbound does better when you have a brand. So like they do really well together. So I'm looking for B2B companies with like big contract sizes for me personally, but I think it's advantageous to look for ideas that are in a space that you know something about. But then also those other things that I said, like to have a big total addressable market. They're very sticky. A big part of running a business. I do look for B2B. I'm not interested in B2C SaaS really. Um, that's what I look for. I want it to be really integral to running their business. I want big contract sizes. Those are the main things. I want to be able to build a sales team around it.
One point you mentioned as you spoke through it, I found quite interesting is when you know it was working, you want to document your success. How did you record those experiments and then create the necessary documents to share that?
Yeah, so we had a Notion document that literally broke down exactly step by step how to get Closify customers. Literally from like buying domains, like buying the subdomains, how to warm them up, literally the exact like lead list to buy. I'll give you an example. Like there's different places to buy different types of lead lists, and some are better for different things. So to give you an example, one called Built With is really good for building lead lists of companies that use certain types of technology. And so we kind of went out on a hunch because we were looking for people that wanted to hire sales reps, right? And so we went out on a hunch and we were like, you know what? If businesses use ClickFunnels and Calendly, there's a good chance they're running some type of call booking funnel because that's like what people use it for. And if they are running a call booking funnel, they need sales reps. And so we used Built With to scrape a list of companies that had ClickFunnels and Calendly, and that campaign worked really well. And so we like told people to like do more of that. So we're like, hey, here's an exact search that's working. And obviously there was like a way to make sure everyone's not blasting the same list and everything. Here's how to build your list. Here's how to set up your LinkedIn profile. Here's how to set up your email signature. Here's the script to use on cold email. And here's how the cadence in terms of like how cold email and your LinkedIn should flow together. Here's how to pass over the meeting to our sales team to make it like seamless and not seem weird. We had everything documented to where then we had our own internal like sales team that was like booking meetings and closing it. But then we also did that worked really well is we took that document and we basically just blasted it out to my audience, which wasn't very big at the time, but it was like my Twitter. And we're like, hey, yo, like if you're just like trying to make your first $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month online, you want to hustle, like here's how to send us clients and we'll pay you $1,000 for every one that you send us. And so then we had like an army of basically affiliates that were doing outbound on our behalf, sending us clients. So like when you have that playbook, you can just say, hey, if you want to send us clients, here's how to do it. It works.
One of the other parts of your playbook is that you create amazing content that then comes through this process and works to your lead magnet and then gives you sales, which you convert. Can you
Mhm.
just tell us about how you think through your content strategy?
Yeah. So the biggest thing to remember is it's a funnel. You have your top of funnel content, middle, and bottom. And you can't use super niche terminology and you're like if no one knows who you are, it was really interesting for me because I had to create a whole new industry. Like if I said no code software at the very beginning, if like my first ever video I posted, I was like, no code software. Like people, I would have lost people right then and there. They would be like, dude, what's this guy talking about? Similarly, if I talk about like TAM too early on, if I say you need to choose ideas with a big TAM, I'm like, dude, what the heck is this guy talking about? You know what I mean? So you need to be able to relate to the masses. You need to use terminology that anyone will understand. One of my videos very early on that did very well, I was like, hey, if you've ever built a website, then you can actually build a software company now because the same way that you've built websites in a drag and drop manner, there's similar ways to build software now. So then it's like explaining at like a second grade level, and everyone's like, oh, like I understand now. Like there's no code software. It's like pre-coded elements I can drag and drop together. It's like Shopify for software. It makes sense. And I made another video about that. Like Bubble is the new Shopify of software. And so like using analogies and terminology that they'll understand is how you make your videos that bring awareness, that drive a lot of views. And then you make your middle of funnel content. Like once you have a following, that's like all the how-tos. Here's how to come up with software ideas. Here's how to price your software. Here's how to get your customers. Here's how to do content marketing for software. So these are all your middle of funnel videos that like actually builds you up as an authority. And then you have your bottom of funnel content, which is like your call to actions, whether it's your newsletter, free training, lead magnet, whatever it may be. And it could be a story post, it could be a reel, it could be a YouTube video, whatever.
Something I've been thinking a lot about is whether people care that it's built on no code. What do you think about that, and how do you communicate that in your content, Alex? Do you think it's about just building an amazing product, or do you think that actually it's essential to communicate the no code?
So all of our clients and everything, like they know it's built on Bubble. Like it's
Hmm.
no one's like hiding it. They don't care. And I think what people are realizing, and most smart people will admit to this, tech modes don't exist much anymore. Unless you're going for like a unicorn and you're actually like raising money and building some crazy new tech, then you have a tech mode. But for most of these ideas, for example, people will pay us, like I said, 20 to 40K to build on Bubble. And maybe it'll cost them 60 to 100K to build it with actual code. I don't know. I'm making that up. But it's
Hmm.
like if someone has 40K to drop, they honestly could probably drop 100 too. And it's like there's no tech mode. And so the ability to get to market faster and then be able to iterate faster by building on no code and having it still be scalable and customizable, it just makes way more sense. I have so many people that I know that they have exited fully coded software companies in the past, and they're like, every software I ever built from now on will be no code. I am never using code again. I know many 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs that have told me that. And again, I'm not being ignorant and saying code has no place anymore. Of course, that's not true. We're working with some seriously high level entrepreneurs right now, and they don't care at all that it's no code.
Yeah, I think, we have the same, and it makes me think about the type of business that people are building. We actually work with some venture funded businesses. The difference is their moat is not the tech for the ones that we work with. It may be something else, such as the community or the brand, or it's interesting to understand when you work with someone actually what's their focus and what's their goal. Do they want to be this huge unicorn that is venture backed, or is it a SaaS tool that they eventually want to be acquired on acquire.com? Which is the best no-code platform for the MVP, before building on Bubble?
I'm not a tech guy, so I don't know like the tech behind all of them and like what they're all best for. We've played around with Glide a little bit, and I think we thought Glide was solid. I would say Glide is probably better than Softer, in my opinion. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
I would honestly, in my opinion, I would optimize for what you think is easiest to use for everyone. Like if it's Airtable, it can be Airtable, it can even be Wix, it can be Typeform, whichever one does what you need to do initially and you're comfortable with using it, or you can get someone from Upwork potentially to help you do it, then the most important point at that stage is to just iterate based on customer feedback. And so I think you want a tool that you feel comfortable to use, and then once you have the validation, then you can go and develop something further. Like when we built our product, our first iteration was a type form, which we posted on Facebook groups, and then we went to Wix, and then we went to Bubble. It sounds like when you're searching for ideas on Acquire, these products usually exist and they're not fundamentally new products. How do you think about seeing them on acquire.com and then differentiating?
Yeah, so how I differentiate them is I search them up, their G2 reviews. And so unless you have a premium account, you can't see the name of the startup. But let's just say that like on Acquire, you see, oh, this is a B2B email finder, whatever. So I would search the different B2B email finders. You'll see like Snov and Hunter and all those. And then I'll search like hunter.io G2 reviews. And I'll scroll to what people dislike. And I'll look for the recurring complaints about what people dislike, whether it's pricing, whether it's a feature, whether it's poor customer support. And then that is what I'll aim to make better in my MVP.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. Alex, take care.
All right, see you guys.